gang members, them real gang members, them real tees, man. Them stand-up tees, man. Never fall, man. You feel me?
Chicago police are investigating a deadly shooting on the city's west side. Officers tell us they were called to the area near Franklin and Spalding for a report of a person shot. That's when they say they found a 35-year-old man who had been shot several times.
My so-called friends, so I can kill my own enemies. 9 times out of 10, the ops ain't gonna kill shit. Be their own homies, snaked out. I peep that shit. Stay the away from around me, fake ass niggas.
Okay, so imagine getting killed in front of 20 of your boys. And I'm talking about your day ones, the guys you grew up with. And not one of them helps you. Not one. They just watch. Like they're at a movie premiere and you're the entertainment. And here's how you know it was planned. This is a gang reunion in Chicago, a city that had over 570 murders in 2024. And somehow, nobody brought a gun. Nobody. Not one person. In what universe does a whole crew of street dudes show up to a function unarmed unless they were told not to bring them? 18 months later, nobody's been arrested. Not one person. In a city where Ring doorbells catch people stealing Amazon packages, but 20+ witnesses can't seem to remember who shot their friend. Make it make sense. Welcome to TikTok Crimes, where we cover what happens when your circle becomes a cage. I'm your favorite narrator, and today we're breaking down the murder of Nico Whitehead, a man who predicted his own death and was proven right in the most horrific way possible. So, let's talk about Nico. Born January 5th, 1989, right in the heart of Chicago's South Side. And listen, if you know anything about Chicago in the late 80s and early 90s, you know that wasn't exactly a Leave It to Beaver situation. We're talking crack epidemic, gang warfare, mothers burying sons before they hit 25. The kind of neighborhood where your zip code determined your life expectancy. His mom, Kimmy Whitehead, did what she could. But here's the thing about growing up in places like West Garfield Park and Humboldt Park. Gang affiliation isn't a choice you make at 18 like picking a college major. It's geography, it's destiny. The block you're born on chooses your colors, your enemies, and honestly, how long you're gonna be around.
Free them gang members, them real gang members, them real tees, man. Them stand-up tees, man. Never fall, man. You feel me? No matter what. The Kasho King on his way home, man. My nigga Rockwell, you know how the fuck
all my niggas that's gone.
You feel me? The Kasho King on his way home, man. We on the way, man. You feel me, man? You know how we bumming, man. All them guys. Rest in peace, Randy, all day, every day. Understand me, bang, bang, fun game shit. Young nigga understand me taking over. That's how we coming, man.
I know y'all about to
right here, Kings, man.
Yeah, we better tell us.
By the time Nico hit his teens, his body became a whole billboard. Full body tattoos. And I'm not talking about some cute little butterfly on your ankle situation. We're talking 5-point Vice Lord stars, stacks of money, pyramids symbolizing wealth, and the word dunk sprawled right across his stomach. These weren't decorations, bestie. These were survival documents. In a world where your reputation could literally save or end your life, Nico's ink told everyone exactly who he was before he even opened his mouth. He rolled with the traveling Vice Lords, one of the most respected factions of the almighty Vice Lord nation. And within that, he was WBMG. Wild Bunch Money Gang. If that sounds like a lot of layers, that's because it is. Chicago gang structure is more complicated than your family drama at Thanksgiving, I promise you. And Nico wasn't just some random member either. He was an OG enforcer. The kind of guy who handled business, who rode for his brothers, who stood on it when things got messy. But here's where it gets interesting. Because Nico was more than just street life. He was a father. Baby Nico and Arianik, those were his kids and he loved them. Like spoiled, them rotten kind of love. The kind of dad who'd give you his last dollar to make sure his kids had what they needed. Fatherhood softened him in ways the streets never could. He was also an underground drill rapper.
Much money game, between worldwide. The top tier real, ayy. Then I'm fucking G up, bad bitch with Don chicks and all she do is eat. Never change on the game, cause that's how I beat her. I'm so 100, I don't know how to beat her. If a nigga play, I stay that fucking game. Touching on my back, I'm trying to gang, cause I don't play. That's so 100, nigga, I don't play. If I don't know you, I don't wanna know you, I don't play.
Now, before you go looking for him on Spotify, understand, his music never hit mainstream. No platinum plaques, no Grammy nominations. But in Chicago's street scene, Nico's voice mattered. His Instagram lives were legendary. Sipping lean from a double cup, flashing expensive Rolex watches, giving warnings to rivals while hyping up his WBMG brothers. That was his platform. And get this, he was even dabbling in acting. Chicago independent hood films, you know the ones. Except here's the thing, Nico didn't really need to act. He was living the reality those films were trying to capture. Method acting who? So we've got a father, a rapper, an actor, a gang enforcer. Basically, a man trying to build something legitimate while still being tied to the streets that raised him. And in Chicago, that's a tightrope walk with no safety net. But then came June 2018, and everything went left. Federal indictment. United States versus Whitehead. The charges? Possession with intent to distribute narcotics and firearm charges. Federal charges, which, if you don't know, those are the ones that don't come with bail. Those are the ones that take years off your life. Nico was detained without bond and sent to federal prison. For someone who'd spent his entire life on the move, hustling, recording music, raising his kids, being locked in a cell was suffocating. He missed birthdays. He missed milestones. He missed years of his children's lives that he would never get back. Years that baby Nico and Arianik spent wondering when daddy was coming home. Now here's where the story takes a turn that should have been good news, but ended up being suspicious. When Nico got released, less than a year before his death, something had shifted. Street sources say he came home different, came home glowing. The money started flowing again. Legitimate money from creative ventures, street money from hustles. Whatever the source was, Nico was shining in ways that made people uncomfortable. Expensive jewelry, designer everything. Women gravitating toward him everywhere he went. For someone who'd spent years locked in a federal cell, Nico was making up for lost time. And honestly, good for him, right? Man served his time, came home, started getting his life together. That should be a success story. But in the hood, when one man rises, especially after a prison bid, questions start circulating. And not the congratulatory kind. Why is he eating while everyone else is starving? How did he get out so early? Did he cooperate with the feds? Did he give up names to shave time off his sentence? And listen, in street culture, those whispers are deadly. Once people start questioning your loyalty, your reputation crumbles. And once your reputation crumbles, your life is in danger. It doesn't even matter if the rumors are true. Perception is reality in the streets. Jealousy doesn't announce itself by the way. It doesn't knock on your door with a warning. It builds quietly, like pressure in a bomb, until one day it just explodes. Old friends started looking at Nico differently. The same brothers who used to celebrate his wins now resented his success. The same crew who used to ride with him now wondered why they weren't eating like he was. And Nico? He felt it. He felt the shift, felt the tension, felt the eyes on him that weren't filled with love anymore. They were filled with envy, suspicion, and something far more dangerous. He knew something was coming. He just didn't know when. Then came the Instagram video that would haunt everyone who saw it.
My so-called friends, so I can kill my own enemy. 9 times out of 10, the ops ain't gonna kill shit. Be their own homies, snaked out. I peep that shit. Stay the f*** away from around me, fake ass niggas.
Nico posted it shortly after his release from federal prison. In the video, he looked directly into the camera and said words that now sound like he was reading his own death certificate. He wasn't talking about rival gangs. He wasn't talking about enemies from different blocks. He was talking about the people closest to him, the ones who'd shared meals with him, shared blunts with him, shared the bond that's supposed to transcend everything in street culture. He spoke about his anxiety being at 10 out of 10. He warned his followers that fake friends are more dangerous than enemies. He said the words that would prove prophetic. This wasn't paranoia, yo. This was a man who understood the game better than anyone. And June 29th, 2024, he was about to be proven right in the worst way possible. So let's get into June 29th, 2024. Approximately 11:10 p.m. The location? 3300 West Franklin Boulevard in Humboldt Park. The same neighborhood where Nico grew up, where he earned his stripes, where he built his entire reputation. This wasn't supposed to be a dangerous night. This was a Western house class reunion. You know, the kind where you're supposed to catch up on who got fat, whose marriage fell apart, who's still driving their mum's car. Normal reunion energy. Estimates say anywhere from 500 to 1,000 people showed up that night. 500 to 1,000. Keep that number in your head because it's about to become very important. The atmosphere was exactly what you'd expect. Drinks flowing, old stories getting louder with each retelling, that street energy that happens when people who grew up in the trenches reconnect after years. Some had done time, some had moved away, some had lost people. But tonight, everyone was back together. Nico showed up in good spirits, jewelry catching the streetlights, confidence radiating off him. He was greeting old friends, laughing at inside jokes, feeling safe. And why wouldn't he? These were his people. Men he'd known since they were kids with scraped knees. Men who wore the same colors, claimed the same set, lived by the same code. This was supposed to be a safe space, but then a confrontation erupted. And the spark? A woman, but not just any woman. Allegedly, his childhood friend's baby mama. Someone Nico had known since sandbox days. Someone he called brother. And the accusation that Nico had been intimate with his homie's girl. Now listen, in street culture, that's not just disrespect. That's the ultimate violation. Money can be forgiven. Territory disputes can be negotiated. But sleeping with your brother's girl? That cuts deeper than anything. The confrontation started with heated words, then escalated into a physical fight. Old school style. Supposed to be one-on-one, no weapons, just two men handling their business with their hands. And here's the thing, Nico was winning. Despite being intoxicated on lean, his hands were moving with practiced precision. Every punch landed. He'd been fighting his whole life. Victory seemed certain. But then Nico made a decision that sealed his fate. He reached for his weapon. Maybe the fight was shifting. Maybe the lean made him paranoid. Maybe he saw something in his opponent's eyes. Whatever the reason, Nico went for his gun. And this is where it gets tragic. As he reached for it, the weapon discharged. Nico accidentally shot himself in the leg. His own gun, his own bullet. The lean had slowed his reflexes, clouded his judgment, made his hands clumsy at the exact moment he needed them steady. He collapsed to the ground, blood pouring from the wound. And in that vulnerable moment, his weapon was ripped from his hands by his opponent. Then came the pistol whipping. The brutal sound of steel meeting flesh echoed through the night. Nico was beaten while lying helpless on the pavement, unable to defend himself, each blow landing with vicious intent. And the men standing around him just watched. They didn't intervene. They didn't step in to stop the beating. They didn't pull the attacker off. They just stood there. Approximately 8 to 20 of his friends stood in a circle around him. And here's what makes this chilling. Street sources later revealed that nobody had guns that night. They ain't had no guns out there, boy. And they usually had all type of guns, all type of firepower. They had no guns out there, boy. That's how you know some crazy stuff going on. Think about that for a second. This was a gathering of hardcore gang members from one of Chicago's most active sets. In a city where 570 plus murders occurred in 2024, where carrying a weapon is second nature for anyone in street life. And yet an entire crew was essentially unarmed at a public gathering. That's not coincidence. That's deliberate. Someone made sure those men didn't have their weapons that night. Someone made sure Nico would be vulnerable. Someone set this up. Then came a figure who hadn't even been involved in the original fight. An unknown gunman approached the circle with terrifying calmness. He walked through the crowd of Nico's so-called brothers, men who could have stopped him, men who could have intervened, men who could have saved Nico's life. But they parted like the Red Sea. The gunman stood directly over Nico's body and methodically fired multiple shots. Execution style. No hesitation, no mercy. The shooter walked away casually, like he'd just finished a routine task. The crowd dispersed like roaches when the lights come on. No one stayed to help. No one called for an ambulance immediately. No one attempted to stop the bleeding. Nico lay there on the concrete of West Franklin Boulevard, bleeding out. His life draining away with every passing second. Eventually, emergency responders arrived and rushed him to Stroger Hospital. But it was far too late. The bullets had torn through vital organs. There was nothing doctors could do. Nico Cheeks, Whitehead, was pronounced dead. He was 35 years old, a father of 2, a man who had just started glowing up after years of struggle.
Chicago police are investigating a deadly shooting on the city's west side. Officers tell us they were called to the area near Franklin and Spalding for a report of a person shot. That's when they say they found a 35-year-old man who had been shot several times. The victim was taken to a hospital where he later died. It's still not known who fired the shots.
Investigators recovered approximately 20 shell casings from the scene. 20. But the questions weren't about ballistics or forensics. The questions were about the 8 to 20 men who stood in that circle and did nothing. Why didn't anyone help? Why didn't anyone intervene? And most disturbingly, was this planned? Because here's what we know. 500 to 1,000 people at that reunion. Video evidence. 20 shell casings. An execution performed in front of a massive crowd. And 18 months later, no arrests have been made. Not one person has been charged. Not one suspect has been named publicly. The shooter remains free, walking the same streets where Nico bled out, living his life while Nico's children grow up without their father. So how does someone get murdered in front of 500 to 1,000 people and nobody goes to jail? Area 4 detectives hit a wall immediately. The no snitching code kicked in hard. And listen, I get it. This code isn't just about being tough, it's survival. People who cooperate become targets. Their families become targets. But here's my question. At what point does protecting a code become more important than protecting your conscience? Despite video evidence circulating on social media, despite 20 shell casings, despite hundreds of witnesses, everyone suddenly developed amnesia. I ain't seen nothing. I ain't hear nothing. I don't know nothing. And the theories? They're wild. Some say this was a sanctioned hit. The WBMG leadership decided Nico needed to go. The coordinated nature, nobody having guns, everyone standing in formation, suggests this wasn't random beef gone wrong. Others point to pure jealousy. The man came home glowing after prison, and some people couldn't stand watching him win. Is success really more unbearable than doing time yourself? Apparently, yes. Then there's the cooperation rumors. In the streets, being labeled a snitch is worse than being labeled a murderer. Did Nico cooperate? We don't know. But perception? That's all that matters. And of course, there's the baby mama violation. Sleeping with your brother's girl is the ultimate disrespect. But does that warrant execution in front of a crowd? Here's what I think. The truth is probably all of the above. Jealousy over his success, resentment about the woman, whispers about cooperation, leadership giving the green light. It all stacked up until murder felt justified to people who claimed they loved him. In September 2024, Nico was laid to rest at D. Johnson Funeral Home. Thousands attended. His body lay in a gold-crowned casket. Because even in death, they gave him the royalty his street name represented. His wife Shanky approached the casket and kissed it goodbye. That image, a heartbroken woman saying farewell to the man she loved, circulated just as quickly as his murder footage. Outside, doves were released into the Chicago sky, a symbol of freedom for a man whose entire life had been defined by codes, territories, and invisible chains. In death, Nico was finally free. But freedom came too late. Baby Nico and Arianik are growing up without their father. They'll only have stories now. Stories about a man who loved them fiercely, who spoiled them, who tried to change but couldn't escape the streets that raised him. His mother Kimmy wakes up every day knowing the people responsible are still out there, still free, still unpunished. And those 8 to 20 men who stood in that circle, They're living with what they did or didn't do. Whether guilt keeps them up at night, only they know. Here's my question for you. What does loyalty really mean? Because Nako's story destroys every romantic notion about ride or die culture. When it mattered most, nobody rode. They just watched him die. 18 months later, the case remains unsolved. The shooter walks free, and Nico's prophecy proved devastatingly accurate. My so-called friends, homies, snake you out. He knew. He told us. And he was right. If this story made you rethink your circle, drop a comment. And if you made it this far, hit that subscribe button, because we're not done exposing what happens when loyalty is just a hashtag. This is TikTok Crimes. We'll see you in the next one.